Hey, Disney cruisers, and welcome back to DCL Community, where we are here to help you plan, prepare for, and get excited for your Disney cruise. You guys know me. I'm Rebecca, your host and admin of the DCL Community. And today we're talking to all those Disney cruisers that love Disney Cruise Line. You're big fans. But are you like the Little Mermaid and you're wondering if there's something more out there, right? Let's talk about it because there's a lot of vacation options and we want to make sure that we get you on the best vacation for your family, whether or not that is a Disney cruise. So as you're coming in, please say hello. Let us know where you're watching from and if it's as cold here as it is by you. But I'm curious if people have been on other cruise lines who are watching too. But Karen, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Shelton. I am the president and founder of My Path Unwinding Travel. You've seen me here with Rebecca over the years. We are a full service authorized Disney vacation planner. We sell all the Disney ships, but we like to say Disney is the heart of our team, the heart of our agency, but we're full service. So we can help walk you through some of these other considerations like, do I stick with Disney or is it time to try something else? And so, kind of put together some of the questions that we hear around this and thought we could kind of discuss it all and see, how do you make that decision? And do you stay or do you go?
Yes, yes. And I know I've only ever cruised with Disney because I feel like there's that fear that you hear about out there. Like once you cruise with Disney, you're ruined for other things, but that's not the case. There's so many great options. So I know I'm excited to learn more with you today. And if you are planning a vacation, you're starting to brainstorm vacations, please reach out to Karen and her team. I'll put the link to their page on the DCL community site up on the screen for everybody. But Karen, let's go ahead and dive in.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, I like to say that there's no such thing as a bad cruise, right? I mean, Disney Cruise Line
Yes.
can be our favorite, but you can have an incredible cruise on so many options. Our agency, I will just be upfront right now. Our agency has chosen not to work with a couple of cruise lines because we are not confident in them and not confident in the service that they might provide if things go wrong. You might have a great cruise, but there could be issues. But we don't need to talk about those. We carefully curate who we partner with. They're not necessarily like as expensive as Disney, but they're not necessarily the most cheap because we want to make sure that our clients are in good hands. But one of the first questions that people might say is, okay, have my kids grown out of it?
Yeah.
Are my kids now too old? And you know what? If you see the first picture on the cover slide that I did, this is my family, and this was in November. My kids are now 22 and 26, and they would wholeheartedly deny that they are too old for a Disney cruise.
Yeah.
We were on the Destiny and we had the most incredible time. And we got to do all the things. And now that they're both old enough, we can be in the adult areas, have adult beverages, and still have fun, party on Pirate Night, and go meet a princess. So, the question is, are my kids too old for Disney? I think that a lot of it is considering who your kids are and what do they enjoy doing. Maybe they've grown out of characters and princesses, but maybe they've not grown out of great live music and incredible cocktails and
Yes.
some of the entertainment. So some of it is like your kids may feel like, okay, they're older now, they don't need Disney, but if they've gotten used to like the food, the rooms, the
Mhm.
entertainment, they may like want to just stick with it. And Rebecca, you're the poster child for that.
Isn't that the truth? I was gonna say test subject number one right here. I feel like you can never age out of amazing service and amazing entertainment. And I think one thing
Oh, I
that
love
I've
that expression.
found, yeah, right? Thank
Can't
you.
age out,
Uh,
right?
but I think one thing that is kind of taken for granted is the relationships that you make on board these ships. Your kids are going to grow up with these counselors on board. And I mean, Disney has crew members who have been there for 10, 15, 20 plus years. And you come on board and they recognize you as part of the family. And there's something so special. Like I remember, seeing Yo-Yo as an adult, and now, he's in all the adult clubs. And, he was my counselor when I was in the teen club a million years ago. And those relationships are something you can't, it's not a water slide. It's not a new destination. It's something so intrinsic that, it's just special on board a Disney cruise. You feel like you are home. And let me tell you, celebrating an 18th or 21st birthday on a Disney cruise, when you can finally go to Palo with mom and dad, you've never felt fancier in your life. Let me tell you, it's the best. I was like, bye to my little sister. See you later. It was the best. So can't recommend it enough. I don't think
It's
you can
so
ever be too
true.
old.
It's like a developmental milestone, and then you have like these stages. So if you take your kids when they're younger, it's kind of like the little kids that go to Walt Disney World, and they're trying to see if they're tall enough to ride
Yes.
rock and roller coaster or whatever it is. It's the same on Disney Cruise. Like you might start out as a child, but then it's like, okay, am I old enough to finally go to Vibe or to check myself in and out of
Yes.
Edge? So it's like maybe they're older, but now they get to experience the ship in different ways. Or maybe mom and dad, it's going to give them more freedom to wander the ship with with the friends that they've made. And then when you're 18 and you can go in the adult only areas, and then you can do the 1820 society. I mean, there's
Yes.
just so many new like layers of enjoying a Disney cruise as you get older. So, you know, I I would say that your kids are probably never too old. Some of it is just the mindset of what are they going to do on board to have a great time. But there's so many things for people to do as they get older. Like teenagers have so many fun activities on board. The Hero Zone on the new ships. You can play basketball. I mean, just so many things. And then a lot of young adults, teens, I mean, they just like, hanging out. And it's like
Yes.
the ultimate hangout and relaxation, which they deserve too.
So true. And, there is always a, kid who's quieter who is, 18 and they just want to hang with mom or dad out by the pool and just relax and get their smoothie and drink their book. And that's their perfect vacation. So I agree 10 million percent. You are never too old for a Disney cruise.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Okay. So, all right. Next thing is, so here's some, just a couple little slides. The almond croissant at Palo. I mean, you got to
Enough
go back when you're
said.
18 just for
You
that,
got it.
right? So there's plenty to do once you start getting older, plenty of reasons to bring your teens and your young adult kids with you. Um, that being said, there might be times where your kids feel like they want something different and, for different reasons. And, there's plenty of options to consider. Royal Caribbean is probably the most popular transition, especially for teens. You see that they kind of market themselves as a really active kind of pumping adventure. They have a lot of thrills on board, from the zip line to the rock climbing to the thing that has you walking out on the edge of the ship and like getting
Yes,
dropped.
so crazy.
So, there are other cruise lines to take your teens on if they're looking for something different. And then when they're 18, you could take them on something like Virgin Voyages. We went with our young adult kids on Virgin as a family. You wouldn't think of it as a family cruise line per se, but we've had um, two or three cruises that I took with my kids, and I know so many people that have gone with their young adult kids. And great example of continuing to have that us time as a family, and that like everybody go their own way at certain times kind of situations. So you
Yes.
can still have meals, you can still have shore excursions, and then they can party till 4 in the morning and you can go to sleep, or vice versa.
Yes, yes. I was gonna say mom and dad's night out.
Right. So here's another reason, or another question or thought about, is it still right for our family, or is Disney Cruise Line still right for us? And one of the questions or thoughts is, well, maybe the kids aren't even traveling with us anymore. Maybe, they're in college or they're grown, and you're not springing for that anymore. You're ready to just, say, okay, if they want to come, it's on their own dime. So, you know, do you look beyond Disney Cruise Line when it's just the two of you, for example, or you and your girlfriends? And I mean, I there's not a right or wrong answer here. My husband and I were fortunate enough this November to do a celebrity cruise back to back with the Disney Destiny,
Ooh,
and we had time on Celebrity on our own. We had a Disney Destiny cruise with the kids, and then we had the Disney Destiny maiden voyage because that was a preview. We had a maiden voyage, just the two of us again. And hey, we loved a Disney cruise, just the two of us. It is
yes.
fantastic. And I know so many couples that are empty nest couples that are going on Disney Cruise Line. Again, because you never age out. I,
Yes.
we're going to patent that, Rebecca. You don't age out of good service, good food.
Yes. I do not care how old you are, and you can roll your eyes at me all you want. But the second that anybody turns down a hallway and runs into Goofy, their inner child can't help but come out and be like, that's Goofy. Even if you're not a Disney person, you're just like, oh, that's Mickey Mouse. You just run into Mickey Mouse walking down the staircase. It's the coolest. Okay. That might make me sound nerdy, but it really is. There's something about that Disney level service, the entertainment, and the quality of experience that you get on board that has so much value. Even if you took all the characters away, it's still there.
It's still there. And you can, I mean, it's again, if you've been a cruiser, it's like you have a certain expectation of the service. No other cruise line has the rotational dining experience where your servers follow you from restaurant to restaurant. And I was just joking with Kaylee from my team, do they follow you from ship to ship? Because sometimes people are, seeing their favorite crew members on the next ship because they've moved to a new ship or whatnot. But again, you develop those relationships, and it's not to say that you can't develop relationships on other cruise lines, but there is something different. It's just a distinctly Disney difference in terms of the ways that we relate to the crew on Disney. It does
Yeah,
feel more like family, doesn't it?
it does. It feels like you're going home. And I know I have family that are adults only. We've done adults only Disney cruises, and it's a amazing vacation. I can't say enough good things. But if it's not, if you want to try something else, there's also a million other great options to consider.
And the thing is, like, I don't want to sound like I'm a walking, talking Disney commercial, even if I am. But because we'll get to some other things here in a few minutes. But I mean, yes, there are. I mean, the Celebrity XL that we were on, it just launched in November, blew us away. I cannot wait to get back on Celebrity. It was an incredible ship for, the right people. It's probably not a ship that you're going to take, your young kids on very often. You might, under certain circumstances, they do allow kids, but um I would still say that for Disney, you would go without kids, whereas Celebrity, you might not go with your kids. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
like there's different considerations, but you can have a great cruise no matter what. If the kids aren't traveling with you anymore, I mean, again, I have so many clients that are continuing to stick with Disney because that's what they know and love. But occasionally, here and there, they're like, "Oh, well, let's try something else." They still can come back. It's okay to cheat on Disney. They let you back.
They do let you back. Yes, Mickey will not say no to you coming back on board.
Absolutely, they want you back. So, I mean, again, if you're just going to be adult only, one of the things that, if you all have heard me before, you know that I am a huge fan of sailing in concierge level on Disney Cruise Line. If you don't have the kids with you anymore, that's a great time to maybe splurge and just do for the two of you a concierge stay. And then you have all kinds of extra benefits that we have whole other videos about that. But there's reasons to just keep staying on Disney and maybe trying to experience it in a different way as adults only or in concierge, for example.
Yes, so good. Do stuff for you.
Yeah, take some time in the spa, all those things. There's so many things to experience on board. And I know we're constantly reassuring people that, like, it's okay if you don't get to do X, Y, and Z, or if you miss the sign up or it's sold out because you're going to have a great cruise. But again, another reason to say, you know what, maybe my family's not done with Disney. Maybe we're not done with Disney Cruise Line because we need to come back and finally try the rainforest spa pass, or finally, have that drink in, haunted mansion that we never got around to do, or, there's all these things that um, most people still have, a few things on their list every time.
I was gonna say, I've been cruising with Disney for so long, and I still haven't even made a dent in all the things there are to do on board. So I promise you're not gonna be bored after your first one.
Yeah. All right. So here's a very realistic consideration. Do we need to look beyond Disney? Is it still the right fit for our family? Because is it the right value for us? What about cost? And you know what? It's a really fair question. And if you're concerned about the cost of a Disney cruise, we can definitely talk about it. I will say that there are more and more um, opportunities to find a good value on a Disney cruise, I would say, than there have been in quite some time. The
Yes.
opportunity to use placeholders on more dates, to use a placeholder even in concierge, to have different promotions, to have reduced deposits. They have made some inroads. I'm not going to say it's a cheap vacation. It is not. But they have made some inroads. And at the same time, some other cruise lines, also maybe their prices are going up. So it's an opportunity to look at the cost versus value. I like to say that we are value interpreters for our clients because it's not always just about the cost of things, it's what is the overall value. So here, I have a celebrity ship in a Utopia of the Seas, Royal Caribbean ship. I mean, this winter there are some absolutely incredible pricing on some celebrity
Ooh.
sailings. If you're looking for like a 4-night Bahamas cruise on Celebrity, some pricing that just blows my mind. I had to grab one for myself for next week if the snow doesn't stop us. Um, so there's things like that that we don't tend to see on other on Disney Cruise Line that we might sometimes see on a Celebrity or Royal. And that's a very legitimate reason to say, you know what, we're ready to try something different because we want to see how else to spend our vacation dollars. That's really
Yeah.
fair. And then, if you can find like a screaming deal, which doesn't always happen, but if you can, go try it and then see what you think. And then see, is this going to stay in my vacation mix or am I back to Disney?
Yes, that's such a good point. And I think something you brought up in the past too is Disney's one of the last ones to release new itineraries. Some of these other places release
Yes.
them like 2 years in advance. So it gives you a longer time to make payments and make it, with same cost but more affordable over time versus a bigger lump sum. So that's something to consider too if you're already thinking about spring break 2 years down the line.
That's absolutely true. For some things, we can book into 2028, which is crazy. That sounds like a fake year, but
That
it's
does sound
really,
like a big year.
it's 2 years away. So, um, it's definitely considering costs. I know a lot of families, really want to continue to have great vacations. I'd rather you think about, maybe dipping your toe in Royal Caribbean or another cruise line's water than not have that vacation and those vacation memories. And you may be finding that you're comparing it to a Disney cruise, but you also may find that there's new things that you enjoy about a new cruise line and new entertainment. You might say, you know what, I've been on Disney so many times. I've seen all the shows and I love seeing it. I don't mind seeing it over, but I'm ready for something new. And I mean, I'll tell you what, some of the shows on Royal Caribbean are so much fun. Full length Broadway shows like Back to the Future, Wizard of Oz. I'm a huge ABBA fan, so the Mamma Mia show. I mean,
Yes.
I just love it. And the Aqua Theater and all the different entertainment. There's a comedy club. Some of the ships have dueling pianos, which I'm obsessed with. I want
Yes.
Disney to have a dueling pianos bar like
That would be
all the
so
time.
good.
So, so there's different reasons to like step out and say, okay, I'm ready for something different.
Yes. And question from Casey. Would you recommend waiting for last minute deals?
Most of the time, no. Especially if you are not flexible on your date, you should not wait. If you're very flexible, you can travel easily with, maybe 6 weeks notice or so. Then you can check in and we can see what's available. Peak times for like spring break, you might not get any last minute deal. Just like we say with Disney, for most cruise lines, booking early is the best. Occasionally there are last minute, but you may not get the cabin category you want, etc. So it
Mhm.
really depends on how flexible you are with your date, your destination, your stateroom category, all of that.
Yes, so
If you're
true.
really planning, like, I want to go on spring break, I would not wait. No.
Yes, agreed.
Most of the time we can reprice at least on the same cruise. And sometimes there's a change fee for something like Royal Caribbean, but it could be worth it depending on, that's kind of some details we could discuss.
Yeah, I was gonna say your help with the math and does this make sense to make the jump? Are we gonna end up saving more or not is so priceless.
Yeah. All right. So another reason that I hear from people is I've gone to the same places. I've gone to the same. I've done the same excursions. I'm ready for
Yes.
something new. So you know what?
All those people who are like, NASA again, this is for you.
This is for you. So there's a couple different ways of looking at it. A, when you, when you work with a travel advisor like at My Path Unwinding, we have partnerships with some other shore excursion companies that offer options outside of what Disney offers. And so you may look at the list in Cozumel or even Nassau or wherever the cruises are going and realize that there's new activities to do that Disney hasn't offered that you haven't thought of yet. So you can still have your Disney cruise, but do some new excursions that you haven't considered doing yet because they weren't presented to you. And these are guaranteed to get you back to the ship on time. They're carefully selected to be shore excursions. And if anybody wants to look at a list of them for your sailing, I'm happy to send you a list just for your cruise. And we can talk about it. So you can still sail on Disney and get new excursions if you're open to working with some other companies that we have experience with and trust explicitly. Or it might be, you know what? I want to go to some new destinations. And is that the next slide? Yeah, I want to go on some new itineraries. I'm tired of where Disney goes. I want to go to Southeast Asia. I want to go to some different islands. I want to go to Hawaiian Islands. I want to go to places that Disney has rarely gone or doesn't go anymore, etc. And in that case, if your family is ready for new itineraries, then there are, again, the world is your oyster. Everything from a Ritz-Carlton yacht to Explore Journeys. Both are two higher end family friendly lines. Explorer Journeys is all suite and their pricing is coming out terrific and they're family
Ooh.
friendly. Ritz Carlton is obviously, very high end, but also very inclusive. So kind of an open bar, all butler ship. So but you
Ooh.
can look at Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. Even Royal Caribbean has now, and some celebrity itineraries have the new Royal Beach Club, which has opened in Nassau. So kind of
Ooh.
like a perfect day at Coco Cay situation, sort of, kind of. You have to pay for it like a shore excursion, but it's a Royal Caribbean owned and operated beach club in Nassau. So
That's
you
cool.
now have a beach and a pool and food and bars and cabanas and a party pool. The world's biggest swim up bar is there. So you know you can try some of your favorite destinations with new options to explore, or go to some new
Yes.
destinations.
Yes. What is it up? The world's out there, adventures out there. There's so many options. And we love Disney. We do, but getting to maybe go to Nassau, but put different goggles on when you're seeing it. I mean, what a great opportunity.
Exactly. And I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to sit there and maybe see the Disney ship and say, oh, my heart.
I
That's
know.
okay.
Yes, you can always come back. I'll never forget my aunt and uncle got married at Disney. And when they were transporting us from the hotel to where they were getting married, they put us on a Disney Cruise Line bus. And young me just
Oh.
about had a meltdown because, I'm on the bus. I'm so close, yet so far. You can imagine the
Yeah.
dramatics. So, but it's not going anywhere. Disney will, like we said earlier, Disney will always take you back.
Exactly. And one of the things that like I really love about what I do, and I know that my team really loves this, is that like I feel like we're the Disney translators. I said before we're value interpreters. I just thought of this, that we're actually Disney translators too. And that is like, because we know Disney Cruise Lines so well, we can explain to you like what that means in Disney Cruise Line terms when you're doing a different option, and kind of like what's going to be the same and what's going to be different. And so we can kind of hold your hand through it so that you kind of know what to expect. I remember
Yes.
we took my son and a bunch of families when he was in high school on Royal Caribbean, and we walked onto the ship, and no, there was nobody saying Royal Caribbean welcomes aboard the Shelton family. You're just
Yeah.
walking on and you're kind of like, okay, what do I do now? And it's, this big atrium with shops and like a sports car parked in the middle, and all this, music and balloons. And I remember my son was almost like a deer in headlights, like, Mom, we're not on
Yes.
Disney cruise anymore. And it took him a little bit to adjust,
Yes.
but we did it. And so it's kind of like, okay, here's how we can tell you what's going to be similar and what's going to be different to a Disney cruise.
Oh, having that someone to help set those expectations is the key here because going in blind, just comparing apples to apple, it's going to be different and that's okay. Knowing that they both have value on their own is the key here.
Absolutely. So another one is, okay, maybe we're ready for a different type of cruising. Maybe we're ready for river cruising. And so, we want to explore a different form of floating on water. And you know what? We have another time we've talked about this. You can look it up on the YouTube channel. Um, Adventures by Disney has river cruising. So you can stay in your Disney bubble and enjoy a river cruise in Europe with your family, or there's some adult only dates. So, I mean, yes, this is a higher end option, but it's very inclusive with all of your excursions and your transfers and Wi-Fi and uh, beer and wine at dinner and all these things and gratuities all bundled in. And so Disney actually just released the 2027 dates for their river cruises.
Ooh.
So if that's been on your radar, this is a great time to look into those. And there's many other river cruise lines that we work with. I just got back from the Tauk Academy. Tauk Bridges is the family-friendly branch of Tauk, which is a company that does guided vacations. They've been around 100 years. They also have river cruising for families and for adults. An incredible option. And there's several others that are family friendly or friendly for groups of adults, couples. We can help find, you know, help you match up to the right one.
Yes. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there some sort of potential discount for Disney cruisers who book Adventures by Disney?
That is amazing that you said that. If you've returned from a Disney cruise, I think within 45 days, you can book an Adventures by Disney and get a discount. That is a very
Ooh,
quiet offer,
yes.
but it is a great offer. It does not combine with any other ABD offers, Adventures by Disney offers that they might have. So right now they probably still have early booking offers for river cruising, for example. So you can't stack their promotions. But our agency, My Path Unwinding Travel, does do an agency exclusive discount for Adventures by Disney, and
Ooh,
that does stack with the ABD offers.
that's
So
awesome.
good to know there. And
Yes.
if you're looking at Tauk Bridges or a Tauk vacation, as Tauk certified advisor, we're one of the few agencies that can offer a complimentary pre or post night to your Tauk Bridges or Tauk River Cruise or Land Adventure. That can be
Ooh,
sometimes a value of like $1,000 because they stay at nice hotels. So
wow.
um, that's always something to consider.
I don't know anyone who doesn't like to save money, so that sounds incredible.
So I'm saying it's not always about price, but it's about value. And these are ways to get some great value out of things.
Yes.
Okay, another reason you might be ready to look beyond Disney cruise is if you want to be more immersed in a destination. Let's say, you know what, you went in the Med and you loved Italy, but you only really had 5 or 6 hours to experience Rome or Florence or wherever you were, Spain, Barcelona, London, all the different ports that you really just get to touch on, then
Yeah.
maybe it's time to do a different type of travel where you're slowing down and staying in the destination actually overnight rather than on a ship. River cruising can really help you do that because you're much closer and you're much slower traveling through a country. But there's nothing like a land tour
Mhm.
to really experience the culture, the people, the food, the
Yeah.
history, all of it. These are pictures from my family's very first Adventures by Disney, which was in Central Europe. And we had my in laws came, so it was a multi generational trip, and it was just incredible. And this was before I was even a travel advisor. We became huge
Wow.
fans of this type of travel. We've done so many adventures by Disney, and now also we've traveled with Tauk tours. Um, and you can stay in a Disney bubble with Adventures by Disney and have all the security and, emphasis of safety that Disney provides, but
Mhm.
also have local guides and really authentic experiences and be everywhere from Japan, yes, to Europe, to Australia, to Alaska. Land tours in Alaska are a completely different way to experience Alaska. Disney Cruise Line doesn't take you to Denali, but Adventures by Disney does.
Yeah.
So there's so many new ways to travel. And I mean, I only cruised. I went on my honeymoon on a cruise. It wasn't Disney. It wasn't, maybe it was around then, but no, I don't think it was yet. But I only cruised. That was like my only vacation for, probably 20 years. or something,
Yeah,
maybe not,
they're the
at
best.
least 15. I
Yeah.
love cruising, but now I love some of these other forms of travel. I love going to an all-inclusive. I didn't should have put that one up there. If you just want to plop yourself down by a pool.
Yes.
But if you really want to experience more of a destination and not, not worry about shore excursions each day and really get to wander and explore, some of these land tours are incredible. And I just love having somebody else plan a lot of the details, having some
Yes.
we time, having some free time. It's such a great way to travel.
Yes, I getting to actually experience a place versus just a taste of it. We obviously love cruising, we're here, but just getting to really know and appreciate the culture and have local meals. And I love with Adventures by Disney, there's always one local adventure guide. So you
Yes,
really have that connection to the place. And if you're looking for Tokyo, Disney, and Japan tours, I would definitely reach out to Karen and her team. That's the link to their page, scrolling at the bottom, and we can help narrow down some options.
absolutely. Absolutely. I just need to, I wish I could travel every week. There's just, I talk about these things and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. I
I
want to do that.
know. Oh, I know.
Um, so here's some of just our contact information about why you'd work with us. Should I stay or should I go? We can help you decide. We love Disney. We're never going to say don't do a Disney cruise, or Disney vacation, but we're going to help you kind of, and we are an earmarked by Disney agency. They've changed the branding on that. We're now an authorized travel agency that's earmarked by Disney. It used to be called an authorized Disney vacation planner. um, but this is the brand new logo. So we're going to help you again, like we'll be that Disney translator. Do you want to stick with Disney, or, what else should you consider? We're really hot on Tauk. As for land tours, river cruising, they have some small ships. They have a very new brand. The first itineraries come out in the fall. They're ready to book now. It's called Rome, Roam, by Tauk. And Rome by Tauk is specifically designed for people in their 40s and 50s. So it's not a family
Oh.
vacation unless your kids are above the age of 21. It's really not a trip for your grandparents because it's very active and, really designed for people that want to travel in a flexible way, but with still a high level of service. We now are some of the very first advisors to be certified on Rome by Tauk to offer that complimentary pre or post night. We're part of President's Circle for Travel Leaders, which may not mean much to a lot of people, but what it does mean is that we have so many different exclusive offers, like complimentary specialty dining on Royal Caribbean, or complimentary gratuities on AMA Waterways or Norwegian Cruise Line.
Mhm.
Every month there's different offers, and it's too much to put out there all the time. But again, we're here to interpret what's the right fit for your family.
Yes, there's no one size fits all. And whenever anybody asks, what's the best insert thing here? I see somebody asking about solo travel, somebody asking about a honeymoon, somebody asking about 14 to 17-year olds, 21 and 23-year-olds. There's no right or wrong answer. So that's why I would reach out to Karen and her team. Have a conversation. What is your 14-year-old like versus your 17-year-old like? Where are you traveling from? What's your budget? What do you like to do on your vacation? These are all the considerations. It's kind of like a word problem. And Karen and her team are just masters at it, and they can help narrow down all these options because what's best for my family might not be the same as what's best for yours, and that's okay. There's a lot of vacation options, and somebody was asking about, are there all inclusives for family? There are. We've talked about that before, right?
Absolutely.
There's a
There's
Nickelodeon.
all There's so many all-inclusive resorts for families, many,
Oh,
many. And
okay.
actually, the family-friendly ones tend to be a bit of a better value. Usually, they charge a little bit more. Many of them end up charging a little bit more for the adult only all-inclusives. You mentioned Nickelodeon. That's a good one to throw out there because when people like a themed vacation, if you like Disney, you might really have fun at a Nickelodeon resort. There's one in Punta Cana and there's one in Riviera Maya, so Dominican Republic and Mexico. These are all-inclusive resorts for families with a big water park that's Nickelodeon themed. Nickelodeon characters are around. Your room has subtle Nickelodeon theming. Don't worry, it won't like wire your kids so much that they can't sleep. Um, Different themed dining rooms. Some of them, like there's like the Ninja Turtle
Ooh.
pizza because the turtles like pizza, right?
Yep.
Um, Nickelodeon Riviera Maya has the pizza place that's Turtle themed. But then some of the restaurants are just great restaurants without Nickelodeon theming. So that's one option, but there's many others. Grand Velas is a um, all-inclusive resort in Riviera Maya and Cabo, one of the really more luxurious ones that I would say has great food, beautiful beaches and service. Dreams Resorts, there's many of them all over all over Mexico and the Caribbean. There's really many. And then if you start getting into Escaret, we should always mention
Oh,
Escaret when we're talking about
yes.
all inclusive. That's Escaret with an X. Xcaret. If you're wondering how you pronounce it, it's Escaret. Um, they're kind of like the Mexico of the Disney of Mexico in a way. They're very they have all kinds of eco parks that are included when you stay there with shows and experiences, zip lines, cenotes to swim in, yeah, just cultured experience and a very beautiful resort that's all inclusive for families and another section for adults only. So we could go on and on. But
Yes.
yes, there are so many choices.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm like, gosh, now I want to go on vacation, get away from all this cold. Oh my goodness. If you are like Karen and I and want to think about your next vacation, start having those conversations now. Whether you're trying to look at last minute getaways that are happening relatively soon, or you're looking to plan as far out as some of those 2027, 2028 dates, reach out to Karen and her team. They are here to help, and their planning services are complimentary. So they are here to be a resource to you so that you aren't having to have 800 tabs open on your computer about what's the best. And
Leave that to me. If you could see
yeah,
my computer right now, there's about 800 tabs.
yes, doing the Lord's work. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, Karen, thank you so, so much for hanging out with us tonight. This was such a blast. I know that Royal Island has piqued my interest, so we're going to need to talk more about that.
Royal Beach Club. Yes, indeed. I'm going to be there
Yes.
on Celebrity in a few months. Celebrity is going to be stopping there as well on some
Ooh.
sailings. So, a great option to consider. And let's talk.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you all so much. And we will see you all on board real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.